Alright, welcome back to my Nier Automata Very Hard Guide, and hopefully this episode can prevent you from rage quitting this section of the game, because it's sure gonna be rough.
Oh dear. What happened to you?
Wounded in battle. NFCS not functioning.
I'm amazed you were even able to drag yourself here. This is gonna take a bit, so just hang tight. This is terrible. Your motor cortex is full of holes. I can't believe you even managed to walk here. All right, you're all good. I need you to promise me something. Don't die alone. I don't think 2B would want that either.
I know.
Hello. This is the Resource Recovery Unit. Now activating defense mode.
Over and over.
Well, the reason 9S says over and over is because that will be your reaction when attempting this tower on very hard mode. Just like the prologue, this is a grueling gauntlet of several floors filled with enemies, followed by a boss fight consisting of 2 phases, and immediately followed by yet another boss fight. And all of this has to be done without taking a single hit, or else you will start all the way outside of the tower again. And especially the first phase of the fight against Operator 210 is pretty fucked up. And it's really easy to take a hit, meaning going through the entire tower again. And even if you do make it, there's yet another boss fight after that. And if you were like me on your first playthrough on regular hard mode, you were high level enough so that you didn't even have to learn that fight, because you could just heal through every single attack. Well, you don't have that option on very hard mode. So this is going to be both a true test of skill as well as a test of patience.
Unit A2 should gather further data on the current state of machine life.
Hello, and thank you for choosing Tower System Services.
Huh?
We've got some very exciting news for everyone today. There's only one lock left to remove from the tower subsystem. And in order to retain for your faithful patrons, whoever dismantles the final subsystem will earn a special prize. Good luck!
The hell was that?
Large structural unit of machine life form origin activated to the east.
A large what now? What the heck is going on around here?
Unknown.
Well, let's go check out this large structural unit.
You know, I was wondering whether you would find Pascal's corpse here since his death in the previous chapter, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Now, A2 and 9S are going to meet up at the top of the tower, so you need to get to the amusement park first as A2. After all, the second boss fight in the tower you play as A2 instead of 9S.
Alert. Excessive combat activity will put unacceptable strain on your body.
Shut up!
Negative. This support unit is assigned to Yorha Unit 9S. As such, being concerned for said unit's well-being is a requirement.
Whatever.
Okay, first floor. The enemies won't appear until you open the chest in the center of the arena, at which point the lights will go out, so be ready to fight in the dark. There are several waves of enemies as well, first some small enemies with swords, and as soon as you take those out, flyers will appear, so that means you need to watch out for projectiles. And, as you should know by now, projectiles don't home in on you. So if you keep moving you are relatively safe as long as you don't run into anything. The third wave is a bit harder as there are several enemies firing at you from the top of these crates. while there is also a larger enemy who can fire lasers at you. However, you can also use these stacks of crates to your advantage and use them as cover. Make sure to take the larger enemy out first before you focus on the smaller enemies. Be aware though that you might knock them off, and the fucked up thing is that their projectiles can actually move through the crates if they are standing up against them. For some reason that turned out to be a bit glitchy. Alright, second floor. Similar principle here. Elevated enemies firing projectiles and a larger enemy with a shield. And I just chose to quickly get rid of that one using 9S's hacking ability. During the first wave, there are only enemies at the center. Be wary again of their projectiles moving through the crates when you happen to knock them on the ground. Again, for some reason that turned out to be a bit glitchy. Now during the second wave, enemies firing projectiles are on the crates all around the arena, while there are several shield enemies on the ground, rather weak ones fortunately. The difficulty here is that there is basically no way to avoid getting surrounded. You are basically surrounded no matter where you are. However, if you quickly take out one of the 4 groups of enemies on the crates, you have essentially created a safe zone behind you, where you don't have to worry about getting hit from behind. But, well, that's easier said than done, of course. Okay, final wave is just a single enemy, namely a snake machine. However, this one fires dark projectiles that cannot be destroyed by pot fire, so make sure to keep moving away from its head. Now, I chose to do it without hacking, but hacking is definitely a way safer strategy here. Alright, third floor. Tons of enemies, projectiles coming from out of your reach, and the floor in the center is moving. It doesn't look so bad initially, but there are flying suicide bombers, and if you get too close or destroy them when they are too close, you are going to die. So if you see one of those approaching, make them a priority. The other enemies are out of your melee range, so just grind them down with podfire. When the second wave starts, two of those spinning flying enemies will appear and fill the room with projectiles, including the darker ones. So here I say, fuck it, let's take them out by hacking. Now that's what you call in the nick of time. Okay, that was the tower itself. There are no enemies on the next floor. But when you reach the top, you need to fight two bosses in a row. So if you take a single hit against those bosses, all of this has to be done all over again. This game is not fucking around at this point. Or it is fucking around, depending on your perspective. And the fight against Operator 210 is anything but easy.
Model 210. Operator?
Okay, the fight starts with this defensive system shooting projectiles, and the actual target is moving around. So make sure to use an enhancement item for range attacks. You could use the missile pod, but that simply won't do enough damage. So what makes this so difficult is that you need to hit a moving target while avoiding an actual bullet hell, which includes moving laser beams. Now it starts off with projectiles that can be destroyed, but after that the darker projectiles are mixed in as well. So try to position yourself right in between them, and the evasive system will help you to inch your way precisely in between two lines of projectiles. However, you will still have to dodge moving lasers, consisting of two patterns crossing each other. So yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
Operator!
When you finally destroy the barrier, the second phase of the fight starts, and fortunately this is way easier. Operator 210 has very limited attacks and she has no ranged attacks, so the safest strategy here is to keep knocking her back from a distance. And you can do some massive amount of damage if you use hacking. However, it's not over after you take her down, because immediately after the cutscene you switch over to A2 and a second boss fight starts.
Affirmation. Supplies.
Shit! A2.
2B told me. She told me she wanted you to become a good person.
You... Don't you dare talk to me about 2B!
Okay, so how many of you did actually recognize this machine from the Route B prologue? Now this guy has incredible range. Basically his arms are like a large version of when Eve had his arms covered in debris. Fortunately the hit detection here is a bit better. And he doesn't have that much life, so use enhancement items so you can kill him as quickly as possible. Make sure to stay at a distance, because you need to see his attacks coming. Now I actually get really lucky here, because one of the heads got close enough that I got the overclock ability. So basically I got half his life bar down before he could even attack. When you see the heads glowing, he will fire them at you, so keep moving sideways. If you then manage to get close, the fight should already be over. So it's not a tough boss in and of itself, but it's a different experience when you face him after going through all you have before without a single checkpoint.
Physical check complete. Memory check complete. Maintenance mode complete. Yorha Unit 9S. Activate. Good morning, 9S.
Am I...
Analysis. The enemy structural unit collapsed during battle. Unit 9S suffered damage from the fall and was placed in emergency suspend mode. Fall location was deemed too dangerous, thus said unit was transported to current location. All system checks and reactivation complete.
Operator.
Operator Model 210 is deceased. Black box signal not found.
Oh. Situation report.
Tower access authentication key acquired. The required number of authentication keys have been acquired. The tower is now open for investigation.
Okay, we're finally back at where we can save the game. And that will be the end of this episode. We're getting close to the end. Next episode will be the start of the final area. Thanks for watching and see you then.